Hey guys, this is Darren Pitt from darrenpitt.com, and today we're going to be covering my 10-step process for cultivating prospects out of thin air. Okay, now the first thing that you want to do in step number one is adjust your attitude. What do I mean by that? I mean that you have to develop your mind frame, your mindset that when you're at a public event, whether it be at a Chamber of Commerce meeting or a birthday party or any type of gathering, PTA meetings and so on, remember the purpose, the reason for you being there is to work. And your goal is to build your list of names. So once you go with that mindset, then your whole thought process now becomes focused on what your objective is. Now, this does not mean that you're not going to have fun. As a matter of fact, by the time you go through the 10-step process that I'm about to reveal to you, you're probably going to have the most fun you've ever had from doing prospecting using this method. Now, step number two is prepare to work the room. Okay. Now, I always remember, in those spy movies, they're highly trained individuals and they learn to observe their surroundings. Now, step number two is kind of like that. You see, the thing is, when you're in that environment, you're in a general gathering, there's people all around. What you want to do is observe a few things. I'm going to give you these pointers. You want to observe where the hors d'oeuvres or refreshments are. All right, you want to make sure that you know where those places are, because that's where people will be gravitating to. You also want to observe where people are gathering. What spots, what are the hot spots where you see there's lots of people coming together, talking, having fun, and so on. The other thing you want to look for is where the bathroom's located. Well, all of this will make sense in a minute, but you want to know where are the bathrooms, okay? Because obviously people will have to use the bathrooms at some point at these events, and those might create opportunities for you to engage these people. The other thing you look at is you want to take a walk around the room and get a feel for the environment. Give yourself a chance to relax, get a feel for the atmosphere, how are people, are they conversating, are they happy, are they excited, are they sounding frustrated? By walking around the room, it gives you a good feel for the environment, and that will help you in relaxing yourself and being able to start getting ready to approach these people. Now, step number three is to locate the center of influences. Now, if you haven't heard that term before, I'm sure most people are familiar with the sphere of influence, and I spoke about that in the article on my blog, that your sphere of influence, there's a law called the law of 250, and most people actually has a sphere of influence of about 250 people that they can immediately make contact with. So in terms of center of influences, well, a center of influence is a person that already has the prestige, that people already know them, like them, and trust them. And so these are the people that you actually want to meet at this particular event. So you're not just meeting any and everybody, but you're looking to specifically meet the people who already have that strong sphere of influence in that environment. These are the people that would lead you to that, will have influence over that 250, all right? So with that being said, again, you want to locate the center of influences. Notice I did not say to approach. Now, a lot of people at this point, they're scared to say, well, how can I go in and just start talking to a group of people? But you're not. So you can take the pressure off of yourself. So right now, you just want to observe multiple center of influences. And these are the people that, as you go through that event, you will be speaking to. All right? Now, step number four is you want to get to meet one of these center of influences, one-on-one. All right? Now, how are you going to do that? You're not going to approach the group. Okay, a lot of people find that to be rude. So what you want to do is wait for the opportunity. At some point, one of these center of influences will leave their group for whatever reason. They may be going for refreshments. They may be going to eat some hors d'oeuvres. They may be going to actually join another group or to network for their own business. They may be leaving to go to the bathroom. Whatever their reasons are, the fact is they are going to leave the present group that they were speaking with so that you will have that opportunity. Now, say for example, let's say you see them going over to the refreshments table to grab a drink. But what you want to do is immediately Once you see that person, that center of influence that you want to target at that event, start going towards that area, you want to make your way over to that area too. Now, once you see you get to that area, what you want to do is actually introduce yourself. And it's real simple. You want to just say, "Hi, my name is Darren," and with a big smile. All right, and it's very important to smile, have a warm feature. Now, one of two things will happen. Is either they're gonna say hi back and smile at you, or they may not respond. Okay. Now, if they don't respond, that's okay too. Maybe they just don't want to get involved in the conversation at that point, or maybe they're expecting to speak with someone else, or they're waiting on someone else, and they just don't want to get caught up in another conversation during that time. Maybe they may be having a problem at that particular time, and they're trying to sort that through in their own mind. For whatever the reason, they don't want to speak just at that point, and that's okay. All right. I do want to let you know though that 99.9% of the people that you do approach with a big smile and you say hello and introduce yourself, they're going to say hello back. All right. Now, once you make that initial contact, the next step, step number 5, is starting to build rapport. All right. Now, building rapport is very important. Because remember, your goal in prospecting is to start getting people to know you, like you, and trust you. So in building rapport, what you want to do is allow that person to do most of the talking. And this is where it takes all of the pressure off of you. A lot of people struggle with, well, do I need to know a whole lot, or do I need to be able to have a wide array of knowledge about different topics when I speak with people? No. The idea is to have these people do most of the talking and you do most of the listening. Again, this builds great rapport, and these people then believe that you're a true conversationalist, right? Because people are most interested in hearing what they have to say. So you giving them that opportunity will allow them to develop good feelings about you, and it takes the stress off of you. Now, step number 6 is to ask several open-ended questions. Now, an open-ended questions, I'm sure you're familiar with it, but that's for the benefit of persons who may be seeing this or new to the prospecting world. But an open-ended question is questions that you cannot answer with one word. Okay, like, how did you get started in business? You can't just say yes or no to that question. You have to give an explanation. Now, I'm not going to go over the exact questions that you actually use at this point. I am offering a free download on my blog of the 5 top open-ended questions to build relationships. And it's a free MP3 download. You can feel free to get that. But the goal of open-ended questions is actually to get these people talking, get them sharing. And really and truly, it's really the key to unlocking the door to developing relationships, okay? And you want to actually make sure that you're asking questions that makes them feel good about themselves. This is not the time to try to pull the pain out. A lot of times we say you want to find out what that person's pain is so you can help them, right? And when you initially making contact with people in the prospecting phase, you want to make sure that they're feeling good. Because if they're feeling good about the questions that you're asking them, they're going to feel good about you, all right? And again, if you really want to know the exact questions that have been proven to get results, to build rapport, to get people talking, feel free to visit my blog. There should be a link down below, and you'll be able to get those exact questions that you can use for building rapport, all right? Step number 7 is now you want to end that conversation with that center of influence, okay? Because it's now time to be able to move on and meet someone else. Now, before you end that conversation, what you want to do is, thank that person for meeting them and having a good chat, and you want to ask that person for their business card, okay? You want to ask them for their business card. Now, a lot of folks, some people say ask them for their phone number. Well, really and truly, they still don't know you. So if you ask for a phone number, that sounds kind of off. Think about it. If you're meeting someone for the first time, you chat for a few, and then they ask you for their phone number. I mean, so if you ask them for their business card contains all of the information that you're going to need later on down. Okay, it's going to have probably an address on there. It's probably going to have their title, the company that they work for. It's going to probably have a cell phone contact, a work phone contact, the best times to reach them, an email address. So you want to get all of the ammunition you need for the next phase of prospecting which is in the follow-up process by asking them for their business card. Now, a key thing to remember here is you don't want to just give them your card either. Maybe they don't want your card, okay? Or maybe when they take it, your card gets lost in the abyss of a Rolodex, right? It just sticks in there, or maybe it gets uploaded to some contact file that they never look at. So the key here is to ask them for their business card and only offer your card if they ask for it, all right? Now, while it can still get lost, or it can still get put in a Rolodex, the fact is you're not pushing it onto them. You're allowing them to be in control and ask for it. And that there, again, builds very good feelings towards you as an individual, all right? Now, step number 8 of MLM prospecting is introduce yourself to the next prospect. Now, you were expecting something a little bit more, but no, that's it. You introduce yourself to the next prospect with that next center of influence. Now, remember, you would have selected multiple center of influences in step 3, okay? So now you're just looking to meet the next one. Now, what are you going to do with them? The exact same process that you were following a little while ago. Now, I do want to caution you here. Don't get so caught up in just looking for centers of influences that you miss the person standing right next to you. You see, looking for centers of influences is only meant as a guide to help you target the right people that already has influence, that already have people that know them, like them, and trust them to help you get faster results. But you want to take time also that if you notice that there's somebody there and they, say for example, they look pretty shy, or maybe you could tell that they're new. You always know new people, right? You always know new people. Take the time to reach out to them and ask them the same feel-good questions, as I like to call them, so that way you can start building rapport, okay? Allow them to do most of the talking about themselves and the things that interest them. And again, you don't know. These shy persons may become the next strong center of influence that now you have access to those people as well. Step number 9 is to remember your prospect's name. Now, this here, guys, is a golden nugget that if you master it, you will command the respect and the influence of so many people, because so few people take the time to remember other people's names. So let's say you're at the event, you already met, say, one person earlier, John, and maybe it's half an hour later, and you and John meet back at the hors d'oeuvres table or going to the restroom, and you want to call him out by name. Say, hey, John, this is Darren Pitt. We met earlier. It was a pleasure meeting you. Right? Now, notice what I said. I said his name, and then I also said my name, because don't expect them to remember your name, guys. Right? And you don't want to put them in an embarrassing situation, so that's why you offer your name, and so that way you allow them to save face. Right? You allow them to not feel bad because they didn't remember your name and you remembered theirs. Right? Remember, you're networking with a lot of people, but you're networking with purpose. Does that make sense? So make sure to remember their name, and the next time you see them and speak to them and call their name, okay? And that's going to give you a lot more power and create more good feelings in that individual. Now, step number 10. Now, step number 10 is what's going to set you apart from everybody else, okay? It's going to set you apart from everybody else. What you want to start doing is those that you've already met, you want to start introducing them to one another. How powerful is that? Now, can you imagine? Now, during your rapport session, and again, you want to download that MP3 of those 5 questions you want to ask for building the rapport when you're actually speaking with them. But part of that process is finding out how you can help that individual who would be the best person as a prospect for the person that you just met. Now, say for example, I met John earlier, and then let's say I met Mary. Let's say John was in the IT field, and Mary worked for a computer store, right? So John maybe fixes computers, and Mary worked as a part supply for computers, right? What I would do is the next time I see John, maybe I might be talking to Mary at the time, I'm going to go and I'm going to call John, say, hey, John, let me introduce you to Mary. And then I'm going to explain to each of them, to Mary, who John is looking for. I'd say something like, for example, I say, hey, Mary, you know, John is actually in the IT field. He repairs computers. So if you ever know anybody that has any challenges with computers, this is your man. This is the guy you want to make sure that you connect with. And John, guess what? You know, Mary is in computer parts and supplies. She is probably the top supplier in this area. And so if you are looking for parts, or if you are know people that need particular cables or wiring or anything that deals with parts in the IT field, then Mary is the lady you need to call. And that way, what you're doing there is reinforcing your influence. Now these people are very impressed with you because you've done three things. One, you've remembered their names. Two, you've remembered what their profession is in terms of what they do. And three, you remembered what would make a good prospect for those individuals to enhance their businesses. Guys, you do that, you will be golden. Once you're done with that process, guys, you're actually positioning yourself as a true center of influence, and you will become that person that everybody is crowding around, wanting to listen to and making connections with. Now, what do you think will happen if you connect John and Mary and they start talking? You can then excuse yourself to go meet your next prospect, right? What do you think John and Mary is going to be talking about once you leave? They're going to be talking about you. This is why the 10-step prospecting method works. So I hope these tips were informative. I hope you go out there and put them into action and start getting the results that you deserve. Again, to download the exact questions I used during my building rapport session, click the link down below. I will take you to my blog, and there you'll find a podcast outlining those specific questions. So it was a pleasure sharing this information with you, and this is Darren Pitt coming from DarrenPitt.com.